Absolute Wonder Woman begins a new arc that pits her against Absolute Zatanna, but also so much more. Now, the arrival of Absolute Zatanna has been teased in this universe for a while. First with a glimpse of her muzzled and kept by Veronica Cale at the end of issue 12, an encounter in issue 14, and now a full reveal for Diana in issue 16. But this issue has much more going on than let them fight / flirt energy. Like all things happening in Absolute Wonder Woman, there are layers. I'm Sasha, this is Casually Comics, let's explore Absolute Wonder Woman. This issue marks the beginning of the season of the Witch arc, and the Absolute Books time of recording are telling you where new storylines are beginning on their covers, which is helpful for new readers, and the Absolute Universe has been drawing in a decent amount of those, and also bringing back some lapsed people. This issue, like all so far time of recording, has been written by Kelly Thompson, the art is by Hayden Sherman, and the colors are by Jordi Belair. The cover was revealed a while ago because that's part of how the Absolute Universe has been building hype, pre-revealing some character designs, particularly for those characters that people are extra interested in, and Zatanna has been one of those. Zatanna is genuinely a fan favorite and goes through cycles when it comes to use and visibility. The mid-2020s seems to be a time for Zatanna. She's having a bit of a moment. She's also going to get another solo series. We'll see how long it lasts. Now, we talked about her look when it was revealed, but just to quickly touch on it, we have some inversion of the classic design for Zatanna. Here we have the fishnets and the mesh on the top rather than on the bottom. And the rocker edge to this look had some crying Black Canary vibes, but over time the comparisons to Wonder Woman's biker chic look from the 90s when she lost the title to Artemis, which we've done a full video on, those comparisons have grown. Also, put a pin in that. As for this issue, we open on Diana's past on the Wild Isle, with a rather pointed "in the beginning there was love," a blending of the biblical text with the coming of Aphrodite, and an archaically rendered one at that. She's veiled. Many may be more used to seeing just the classically beautiful or even nude depictions of Aphrodite, but there was a time when she was depicted as veiled and yet simultaneously uncovered. There's a power to it that is well captured in this rendering, and this choice also allows for a focus on the power of the character. It's complex, and for some it may seem contradictory, and that's a lot of what's going on with Wonder Woman herself for some people. There's also a fear and awe in how she's revealed, which harkens back to the fact that Aphrodite can be dangerous, all the gods can. But sometimes just the idea of wielding love as a cudgel or a weapon, that's something that can be lost in depictions of Aphrodite. And the fact is, Diana has spent most of her youth being trained to be a weapon, so where does love fit into that? What kind of love? For again, there are also multiple types. It's interesting because one of the tools in mainline Diana's arsenal, starting from the Golden Age, her girdle of submission, is highly reminiscent of the cestus, the magic girdle employed by Aphrodite. However, just in general, love is baked into the concept of Diana as a character as well. And so it's fitting then in this universe Aphrodite has left this impact on her, that she seems to have been touched by her and her presence even if she hasn't physically been there all that much in comparison to the other gods, or so it seems. Diana is awakened from this vision of Aphrodite in her past with a feeling that something is coming. This issue gives a lot of information about what's going on in the universe, but not in an overly expository way, such as when we see that Ferdinand and Petra now live in the High Run, as Diana has been assembling a whole crew in the benevolent Fortress of Doom. Steve is having his own struggles. He has to go to a Senate hearing to justify his actions back in the first arc. In that arc, he deferred to Wonder Woman, and not everyone's okay with that. Also, the senator questioning him looks a lot like Colonel Sanders, and if I can't unsee that, then neither can you. No man can truthfully serve two masters, and if the US government wishes to oppose Wonder Woman, then they are on the wrong side of history, and I'll be on the correct side of it, where Diana will also always be. I have tried my whole life to be allied with justice. If the United States of America is against Wonder Woman, then in my view, it is no longer on the side of justice. If you want to speak to me again, Senator, you'll need a subpoena. Mic drop from Steve. In the realm of Veronica Kale, she's still scheming to take down Diana, but now because of how popular Diana has become, it needs to be something public. Kale's problem with Diana is twofold: her existence and the hope that she inspires. However, she can't come out too direct, so she's trying to take her down in ways that also destroy her credibility and reputation. Her complaining to the Absolute Joker about the merch in issue 15 was definitely a highlight. Kale has been maintaining this stable of characters that she can call upon or use, and here we see her experimenting with what seems to be a version of Starro, or at least the species of the Star Conquerors. The parasite is not about mind control, it's a cudgel to beat them to death with if they deviate too far from our goal. The parasite will degrade quickly if they don't return, a death sentence. And of course, we could speed the process up if necessary. Fear. Fear is the lever. It's also the mind killer. And if they're not afraid, they will be. The Wonder Woman is many things, but I am much scarier. The event is the point. Kill her, yes, of course, priority number one, but there are many horrible stops on the way to her defeat and untimely death, and destroying her good name is one of the best. But if that's too dark for you, it's not the worst thing in the world to show this city that she is not what she pretends, that she endangers them all just with her existence, let alone her actions. Also, that new museum wing is a monstrosity. There's a tech in this scene. He's mostly there to provide someone for Kale to bounce her evilness off of. So thankfully, Kale is cool enough in this series for it to still work. And it does make sense to reestablish this since this issue is pulling the whole new story arc. So you can assume that some people may be new to the happenings. Diana is now quite beloved, and not just because she saved Gateway City, but because of how she did it. Her broadcasting out her message of kindness and love. The reassurance she's brought to people, it's created this kind of magnified effect, and now she's really basically a celebrity. She does know that that kind of love and adoration is also dangerous, that it could turn one's head. Because of her celebrity status, her showing up at this museum opening is a big deal, and Barbara Minerva, whom some may know from the mainline as one of the cheetahs, there are multiple, has been talking of this exhibit and her plans for it for a while. And now because of Diana, she's been able to move forward on it, so we're seeing all this come to fruition. Also, where did Diana get that branded purse? Or is that just a cute nod to her logo? Either way, very nice. The sizing here is also quite good. The scale that lets you see how much taller Diana is than everyone. She feels like an Amazon. Also, there's still that undercurrent between her and Barbara. It's been there since they first met. Diana! Barbara, you look divine. Thank you. There are so many people dying to meet you. Come with me. Also, the balloons they have here for the crowd may be some of the most accurate crowd calling I've seen in a while. She's so tall, she makes the scissors look normal as a highlight, and so is the wear the helmet guy. Inspired, giving show me your feet levels of energy. Inside, the measures of scale with the artifacts is also on point, and don't think I didn't see Barbara lingering on Diana touching her shoulder. Steve is also there, but it's not his turn this issue. Diana is also all about Steve, and they have their own moments, but we have another focus this scene. Instead, we get to see some reliefs of the fishmen that she already fought during the maze arc. Now they're linked with Japanese mythological creatures Kappa, and we also see their queen, whom we also saw earlier in the lab being implanted. But Diana passes out, and I've seen panels like this before in Birds of Prey. The shippers can only take so much before they explode. We're then treated to another flashback, this time with Artemis. And in contrast to the opening, this one is lengthy. Diana is sparring with her. It's clearly a regular occurrence, but all the while she's preoccupied about why she hasn't seen Aphrodite, and why does she no longer come to her. This is a nice representation of the balance and duality required for Diana as a character. Those warrior elements pushing up against the compassionate and loving ones. How important they both are, and that question that is oft times wrestled with by fans and creators of which is more important. And here you're kind of floating with, is one more important than the other? And if so, how? Why doesn't she come to me? I honestly can't believe you're wasting your question on it. Perhaps she does not come because you have nothing more to learn from her. That doesn't make sense. One of my earliest memories is her making quite clear that love is more powerful than anything on earth and more dangerous. You don't agree? Of course not. Each of us thinks ourselves best, most dangerous, most whatever. You cannot trust us on this. That seems true, but so does what she said. Once more, the vision of Aphrodite awakens her, and don't think I didn't notice that it faded into Barbara. Just in general, there has been this hinting of love driving Diana throughout this issue. And you see that in how it's these moments and these visions of Aphrodite that are driving her to action, waking her, pushing her. And also in this issue, we've seen different types of love directed at Diana. It's my magic. I can't access it. Do you want some water or... But my arm... If I was really cut off from magic, I think it would disappear, but it's here, and it feels fine. What does that mean? Let's give her some room to breathe. Something very bad is about to happen. Steve, get Barbara out of here. Etta and Gia too, if you can find them. Oh, we didn't get to see their dresses. How do they look? Whatever this is, it must be connected to my magic seizing up, but who could? Hey, cutie. Good to see you on this plane of existence. I'm Zatanna, and this is the Suicide Squad. You ready to do this? She called her cutie. All the toxic Yuri fans just exploded. They can fix her. Now this team is the Absolute Universe's Suicide Squad, and the setup for that is there in the whole they're being controlled under pain of death by Kale. However, the lineup is basically a modern Villainy Inc. Villainy Inc was the group of villains formed in the golden age of Wonder Woman, in issue 28, when Evil S managed to escape the control of the Girl of Submission and rally Wonder Woman's enemies on the Island of Transformation against her. It's a great issue, and we've discussed it a few times, like when we discussed the Girl of Submission. I'll link it below. There are several members from that lineup here, like Dr. Poison, Giganza, and Cheetah. And it makes sense that's not Barbara because Barbara was not the first Cheetah. That was Priscilla Rich, so that may be this version. We also then see our Queen Kappa, who seems to be taking the place of Queen Clea, because Clea left at the end of the Maze arc to hopefully reform, Diana hoped. And then we have Zatanna on the team. Now, Villainy Inc. does hail from that classic era and represents a time when Wonder Woman had an expansive villain roster, many of whom were dropped in the Silver Age. And while most have returned, it's never had the same energy. And also, it's fitting that they have a different name because they've been doing that in the Absolute Universe, like how the Legion of Doom is the Justice League. When Zatanna and Wonder Woman met in issue 14, Zatanna actually cursed her, binding her magic to her so that it's now in her control. Also, these moments happened. Also, I may have been cursed by a beautiful witch. I wish she told me her name. She seemed to know most of mine. Wow, those eyes hit like a Mack truck, huh? Now, of course, Zatanna herself is being controlled, and now she's passing that on to others. And so Wonder Woman finds herself bound. Now, taking her power, or at least part of it in this way, and then coupled with the outfit she's wearing, it is kind of reminiscent of when Artemis took on the mantle and Wonder Woman had to find some other way to exist for a moment. I'm not sure if that callback is intentional. If it is, that's brilliant. If not, it's just a fun kind of layer to add to it. There's just shades of lots of tension here. Yuri style tension. I think you figured it out, didn't you, cutie? She's underestimated you, but I haven't. I wonder what we should do with your magic first. Look at how she's bound. That's also very classic Wonder Woman. Also, in general, these are just great panels. There is so much energy and tension oozing off it. The blushes, the angle. I see you. It's noted and appreciated. Also tones appropriate of Golden Age Wonder Woman. Now, the fact that Aphrodite featured so prominently in this issue is also going to incite people. Now, we're going to get to see more of Zatanna as this arc goes on. And if anything more interesting happens with her and her backstory, we'll check back in for fun. But as this goes, this was just a super well constructed and fun issue. This series has settled so well into its groove, and the confidence it now has to expand things, not just overtly, but subtly. The way that it's weaving in multiple mythologies, and then even inside of those, different layers and depictions. Even though it's still drawing, of course, from the mainline universe, it's starting to feel more and more concrete and cemented as its own thing. All the layers that it has going on make it a really interesting read. In terms of this matchup, Wonder Woman hasn't been challenged in this way by this type of foe with this type of energy so far in this series, so that's also going to be interesting. Now, when it comes to Wonder Woman and Zatanna, they have a mainline relationship. It's not the strongest or the deepest. Most of their team-ups come from the New 52 and beyond era, although they do have some classic ones. We did short on their pre-crisis team-up, but it's not a common pairing. However, it's dynamic that fascinates some, and it pairs well with the magic base this Wonder Woman has. This issue has a lot of key things going on, and it is moving all of the characters forward, but it is also largely a setup issue, and those aren't everybody's favorite. And if one already wasn't interested in Diana or what's going on with her, this book isn't likely to sway them, although you never know. Some people might be really brought on by Zatanna. She's powerful. This book has very much established what it is at this point, and so it's fairly easy to tell whether one's going to vibe with it or not. To me, the series has just gotten stronger and more focused as it's gone on, which may sound like a given, but it's not always the case. Diana has also become extremely multifaceted, and she shows many more vulnerabilities than she did at the start, while still maintaining her confidence and charm. It's a really solid and fun comic. However, like anything, it's not for everyone. Some just don't like the Absolute Universe. Some aren't feeling Zatanna's design, or her as a choice of villain for Wonder Woman. While I love Sherman's art, it is very distinct, and for some, it's just not their style, and it doesn't land, they can't connect. And what I would love is to hear what you think. Did this issue work for you? Why or why not? What are you hoping to see from Villainy Inc. / The Suicide Squad? How important is love versus being a warrior to Wonder Woman's character, and how do you balance the two? Your thoughts? I can't wait to hear them. Please share them down below, and while you're down there, please do YouTube things like share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day to spend discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. If I sound different, it's because I had to use my old mic because my son broke the cable for my new mic and we're snowed in, so I couldn't go get another one. So we're rocking the old school mic. It's a throwback.